Let's set the stage of the Alternative Finance Edge, with the participation of Piotr Korynski, Forum Leader, Francisco de Paula Coelho, Dean of EIB Institute, Yannis Tsakiris, Deputy Minister for Development and Investments of Hellenic Republic, Uli Grabenwarter, Equity Investments and Guarantees, Deputy Director of European Investment Fund.
Welcome to everybody who is present in the room. It's really a great pleasure to see people in a live conference. I also want to welcome everybody who is joining us online. It's really my privilege and pleasure to welcome you today to our second Alternative Finance Forum in the beautiful city of Thessaloniki, organized by KEPA, the Business Cultural and Development Center, in cooperation with Microstarts, microfinance institution in Thessaloniki. Today, for the whole day, we'll be exploring the new developments in alternative financing, models and applications that transcend, that go beyond what's typically found in the business, in the financial, in the banking sector, and how we apply new technologies to develop new models and new ideas. The theme of the forum is money, technology, and purpose, as you can see here. So let me briefly elaborate on this, why we have chosen this motive, this theme for the conference. Let's start with money. Money, as we have known, is really slowly disappearing. Banknotes and coins are being replaced by electronic alternatives, which offer new functionality in spending and saving. And not only that, the national currencies are disappearing. They are being replaced and challenged by cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and all other new fancy types of money. And of course, without a doubt, making payments with these new technological solutions, it's much easier, it's faster, it's more efficient than before, thanks to those new applications. But at the same time, technological solutions remove us as consumers and users from money as we know it. So the more removed we become, the less we may think about money and the less we may think about spending. It's very easy to spend. It's not so easy to save, but it's very easy to spend. And the cashless, technology-driven environment may be evolving faster than our ability, kind of psychological, cognitive ability to adjust. But one thing is certain, that technology has changed how we think about money in general, how we perceive money and how we use money. So I'm sorry, I should be moving. So that was money. The second part is actually technology. The technology obviously is omnipresent, it's everywhere. And it has penetrated every aspect of our life. It has made incredible changes in financial sector, in financial services. And for me, one way to think about, I'm not sure if I'm correct, but for me, one way to think about technology is like, it's our GPS. Technology can lead us to make better decisions, save more, maybe choose a better mortgage, maybe improve our financial skills through a kind of engaging online games. And it can nudge us, even if we don't know how to use or we don't have perfect knowledge about financial services, we can nudge us, lead us towards better behavior, towards better outcomes. But again, at the same time, giving up decisions to technology also carries some risk. If we give up our kind of decision-making process, and if we completely submit to technology, well, how do we know that the choices that are kind of proposed by technology are in our best interest? How much decision-making freedom do we have? And how much can we trust technology? So, as such, technology is neutral. It's neither positive or negative. It's how we use it and how we apply it. And that's where it comes the next component of our theme, which is purpose. In this context, purpose has a very important role to play. The purpose, the reason for which we are, applying technology, defines how technology can either improve or not our lives, save environment, make positive social changes. So for me, the purpose completes the relationship between technology and money, and purpose is one of the things that we would like to focus during this, this forum. We have assembled a very interesting group of entrepreneurs and leaders from various types of financial institutions, which will be presenting their cutting-edge innovations, from creating digital identities to facilitating lending to small businesses, payments, also non-lending applications of fintechs, as well as technological innovations that drive social capital, like impact investing, social entrepreneurship, new kind of developments in microfinance and collaborative finance. So with these real-life cases, we hope that we will be able to inspire and present what's new and interesting in the alternative financing, and in particular, how applying technologies can be done in a meaningful and responsible way to improve the well-being of individuals and our society. I really truly hope that you will find the program stimulating and interesting, and I would like to encourage you to ask questions, debate, and challenge our presenters. Nothing is set in stone. We are all evolving and learning. And also, I hope that this will become a kind of a learning platform and collaborative platform between various entrepreneurs and service providers here from the audience and also from everybody online. Before I give voice to our distinguished speakers today, I would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. We are very fortunate to have a great group of sponsors whom I hope you will meet and who are actually mostly present here. First of all, I would like to thank the European Investment Bank Institute, who is the primary sponsor, together with the small European Investment Bank and European Investment Fund. Special thanks to Francisco de Paula de Coelho. You will hear from Francisco in a moment. He will be talking about the Institute's interest in alternative finance and what they do. We also will hear from Uli Grabenwarter, as was announced, who is Deputy Director of. He will take a more philosophical and general view of how alternative finance evolves and what it means for sustainability and purpose. And we also have Cédric Guiffet, who will be moderating one of the panels on in the social track section on impact investing. I also want to acknowledge a number of other sponsors, we are very proud to be sponsored by Fondi BESA. BESA Fund in Albania is the largest microfinance institution, and which for the past 28 years has actually been the leader in alternative financing in the country and has led the development of non-banking financial sector in the country. We are really grateful for the sponsorship, and I want to thank Dr. Bayram Mucha, the executive director, who is right here with us, and his team for his support and his leadership for so many years. The next sponsor is Neptune Software Group. We have representatives. Neptune Software is a leading developer of core banking and financial solutions. So it's kind of on the cutting edge of making financial institutions work better and seamlessly. And many special thanks to Ni Badeo and his colleagues who are also here with us. Please talk to Ni. Regardless what you see as his name is written, his name is Ni. Please keep it in mind, it's Ni. And please make sure to say hello and check what they are doing. Next, I want to thank SIA from Italy, which is a leader in design and creation of various management technology infrastructure and services for financial institutions. We have the pleasure of having Mattia Ozello from, Mattia, where are you? Oh, here you are. Mattia will be also speaking in one of the panels, so please say hello to Mattia and learn more about what SIA can offer. He will be talking about how SIA is innovating in creating something interesting for access to capital for small businesses. Finally, I want to acknowledge our networking partners. So sorry, I missed one. Networking partners, Eurocrowd, European Crowdfunding Association. We have Oliver Gaida. Oliver, where are you? Oh, you're here, okay. He will be moderating a session on collaborative finance. He's one of the most knowledgeable people in that area. And we also have the pleasure of having Olena Griniuk from SME banking sector. It's an interesting group. I encourage everybody to talk to them. It's a group of kind of innovative banking, mostly banking institutions in Central and Eastern Europe and Central Asia that collaborate on various new financial developments. And finally, we have a number of communication sponsors, Investment Monitor. We will have a representative, just let me get it right, from Sofia, what's your name? Sofia Karadima will be from Investment Monitor, will be actually summing up and sharing her reflections on alternative finance from a broader perspective at the end of the day. We also have the banks.com, the Greek portal for banking portal. And we also have online business portal Epihero, and Christos Kotsakas from Epiheros will be also one of the rapporteurs at the end of the day. And finally, we also have Chrima Week, which is Money Week, the Greek Money Week here. I would like to thank them for their support. But I really would like to thank KEPA for organizing this event, especially Mr. President, the president of KEPA, Neoklis Stamkos, who has been the leading, show your hand, Neoklis, you have to where you are, and Despina Kamburidou. But in particular, I would like to thank Agni Paguni. Agni has done an incredible job, and if you think that, okay, nothing would have happened if it was not for Agni and her wonderful skills in organizing all the logistics and everything else, so many thanks to Agni. Agni is up there, so thank you very much, Agni. So now with that, seriously, it has taken quite a bit of logistics to organize it in this context. So thank you very much. Now I would like to ask, Francisco, we're going to change a little bit. We will ask the Deputy Minister, who is online, Mr. Yannis Tsakiris, Deputy Minister of Development and Investment for the Hellenic Republic of Greek Hellenic Republic. We would like to ask Mr. Deputy Minister to share his thoughts about how the Greek government is thinking about development and technology and how alternative finance and alternative innovations fit into the landscape of what we want to talk about today. Thank you, Mr. Minister.
Thank you very much for the invitation in this quite interesting and significant event taking place in Greece, in particular in Thessaloniki. If I was to summarize what Mr. Korynski said, this can be done in one sentence. And this sentence, according to me, would be that alternative finance is not about money, it's about technology. And that's great news for all the alternative finance community. I think the pandemic has accelerated a lot technology on those sectors. And as I said, it's not about money anymore, but it's about technology. And that's something that everybody in the alternative finance community was expecting to happen, and it's happening now. And I think we will see great things in the near future with a significant development and growth of that important sector of the economy. Coming back to brick and mortars in Greece, as you know, as a country of the South and being in a deep financial crisis for more than 10 years, the Greek entrepreneurs and the Greek market has suffered a lot from access to finance through the traditional ways. Banking sector who was also struggling during that period, couldn't provide enough funding either in terms of loans or guarantees to the companies, in particular small enterprises, to develop and grow. However, as we go forward and with the new administration in 2019, several important things have happened when it comes to alternative ways of financing the economy. And an important thing was the framework of microfinance in Greece. So there is now a legal framework where microfinance providers can operate. I think Greece was the last country within the European Union that didn't have this legal framework. That's very important. On top, we have developed a lot the National Promotional Institution, the National Development Bank. It's called the Hellenic Development Bank. This institution has grown, and one of the main objectives is to support alternative finance in Greece. We are in the process of creating tools to catalyze the development of microfinance, like guarantee and equity schemes. On the other hand, the equity ecosystem has developed significantly, starting a few years ago with the EquiFund program, continuing now with several other initiatives in the impact financing, soon in the life sciences, in the energy, where also equity will be supported for this purpose. All in all, I think that, as I said at the beginning, alternative finance is now not money mostly, but technology. I think, and including the framework that we have developed here in Greece and the ecosystem, I think soon we will see tangible results in that area that is really, really needed from the Greek economy. I'm not an expert in microfinance, but I think as I saw in the program, you have selected, I would say now, fangate of the sector. And also I see my ex-colleague, Willy Grabenwarter, there, who I'm sure he can give you a fantastic view going forward on how technology can support and grow very rapidly this sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Minister. It's very. We also, yes, we made a special point to acknowledge the fact that actually Greece has done a lot of new strides and new developments, especially in supporting microfinance. So thank you very much for this address. Now I would like to ask Francisco Paula de Coelho to the podium and greet us from the European Investment Bank Institute, and also tell us a little bit more about the Institute, EIB, and what's the interest of EIB in what you try this.
Thank you very much, Piotr, and Your Excellency, Deputy Minister, distinguished guests and dear colleagues. I am really happy to attend the second edition of the Alternative Finance Forum organized by KEPA and sponsored by the EIB Group. And as Piotr, I'm very happy to be here in person. It feels great to attend a real event with real people after so many months of online conferences. Ladies and gentlemen, this forum is about three important topics: money, technology, and purpose. And I believe that the EIB Group is heavily occupied right now with all three of them. Money, to start with. The EIB is a bank. It is the bank of the EU. It was created by the Treaty of Rome 64 years ago to finance sound investment projects, mostly of them, but not exclusively, in the European Union. Our business model is rather simple. Our shareholders are the 27 member states of the EU, They contribute to our strong capital base, which is mostly paid in, subscribed but not paid in, and we use this capital base to issue bonds with which we lend money to investment projects. We do that to the tune of some 70 to 80 billion euros a year, which makes us the biggest multilateral financial institution in the world. And we support projects according to 4 main priorities: innovation, SMEs, infrastructure, and climate. In Greece, where we have been active since 1963, so well before the country joined the European Union, we have helped many small businesses in an economy badly hurt by the financial crisis. We have built better roads and made transport more sustainable, like the Athens and the Thessaloniki metros. The bank has also given Greece several framework loans worth several billion euros to help schools, museums, tourism, and the environment. And we signed last June with the National Bank of Greece our first transaction under the European Guarantee Fund to help businesses recover from the pandemics. This operation, as many previous transactions, involved the European Investment Fund, active in Greece since its creation in 2001. The EIF is a specialist provider of risk finance to benefit small and medium-sized enterprises across Europe. The EIB is its largest shareholder along with the European Commission and a wide range of public and private banks and financial institutions. The EIF is represented here today by my colleagues Uli Grabenwarter and Cyril Guif, and is also a specialist provider of risk finance for social venture across Europe and has a long-standing record in inclusive finance. Now turning to technology. Support for the digital economy is key to boosting technological innovation and services, and it is essential to driving productivity and growth. In line with the main goals of the EU digital agenda, the EIB is committed to supporting Europe's growing data traffic. We provide finance and technical expertise for projects in high-speed internet mobile networks and cloud computing. In 2020, the EIB supported small businesses, startups, and larger companies, as well as the public sector to drive digitalization and innovation in the EU and beyond. Our financing helped to boost new digital business models, to launch 60 satellites that provide broadband internet into space, and enable 2.6 million subscriptions for 5G services. The financial services and social capital industries are also transforming rapidly. In April, the EIB became the first public bank to sell bonds using blockchain technology. This 100 million bond on the Ethereum platform with the 3 private banks, Santander, Société Générale, and Goldman Sachs as leads, was a big success. And last but not least, purpose. Everything the EIB Group does has a purpose. We are a not-for-profit bank driven by EU policies. We are the EU bank owned by the EU member states, and we are also the climate bank. In Europe, the EIB is a fully fledged part of the EU Green Deal to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050 and to make Europe the first carbon-free continent. 2 years ago, we became the first international financing institution to stop financing fossil fuel projects, and we decided to allocate at least 50% of our financing to climate-related projects. We are ensuring that all our activities are aligned with the principles of sustainable finance and that they do not harm the low carbon and climate resilient goals of the Paris Agreement. This purpose is also reflected on the issuing side, where we, first on the market, created in 2007 what was then called the Climate Awareness Bonds, which is now commonly known as green bonds. These are bonds with a targeted climate-related investment, which are now immensely popular among finance professionals looking for purpose and value. Purpose is also present in the EIF support to microfinance institutions or microcredit and social finance providers through funding, portfolio guarantees, and technical assistance under several EU initiatives. It does so to enhance access to finance for micro-enterprise, social enterprises, and the self-employed. And finally, purpose is infused in everything the EIB Institute does, as the philanthropic arm of the EIB. On Monday, I was in Athens to attend a conference on the results of a financial education initiative that we support. It targets primary and secondary schools across the entire country and aims at provide financial literacy to 10,000 pupils in the Greek education system. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for me to stop and to leave the floor to the next intervenant. I will be back at the end of the day to draw the main lessons of this forum. In the meantime, I wish you all a fruitful conference, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Francisco. Thank you and yes, Francisco will be coming back with his reflections at the end of the day. Now I would like to ask another representative of European Investment Fund, Uli Grabenwarter, who is the Deputy Director at EIF, to talk about what he calls monetizing social values for sustainable future. We are very intrigued by the title, and we look forward to Uli's presentation.
Yeah, kalimera to all. Thank you, Piotr. Dear Deputy Minister Yannis, former colleague of mine, good morning. Good morning, Paula. Good morning, esteemed colleagues and ladies and gentlemen that are gathered physically in Thessaloniki or virtually through an internet connection like I do this today. I'm equally happy to see that gradually we are getting back to a mode of functioning where actually interaction between people becomes a reality again without being interfaced with screen. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to Thessaloniki today, but I'm definitely looking forward to that coming back to our life. Yet, I think we are still in a phase of where we see the display of fragility of our society that has been experienced by all of us over the last 20 months or so. And yet I guess we are all hoping that we are going to get back to normal anywhere soon. Yet I think we need to realize that there possibly will be no back to normal anymore for us, at least not to the normal that we have known before the pandemic. And it may very well be that many of the things we have been accustomed to in the past will actually not come back. We have seen how the limitations that we have as a society have been brutally shown to us through the emergence of this pandemic, not only in the way we have been individually affected by the health issues that have been created by the pandemic, but also how the repercussions happened to our socioeconomic life. And this is something that probably has a much more systemic impact than any of us can actually acknowledge and realize today. And yet, we are all preoccupied by the effect that the pandemic had on us. And at the same time, we need to realize that this is just a relatively tiny fraction of all the challenges that we are facing as a society as we go into the future. We have many challenges that we need to take on that reach far further than the crisis scenario that we have been through over the last 20 months or so. To start off with the climate change or the issues of social cohesion that we are facing in society pretty much everywhere, or the sustainability of our food chain, and many more. And I think when we are looking at all those, we are hoping that we can deal with all those challenges in sequence, that we can take them one by one, that we can have an approach where we say, let us deal with the pandemic, and when we are done with it, we are going to turn to climate. And when we are done with climate, we will look at fighting poverty and access to drinking water and what have you. But unfortunately, we need to realize that the challenges our society is facing is not something that will come in the shape of a Maslow pyramid, where we can work off layer by layer, depending on the urgency that we perceive in the head of the people. We need to tackle all of this at par. We need to deal with all those urgencies at the same time. And that is something that requires of us innovation, that requires of us that we actually trigger systemic change in the way how we are operating our societal system and how we conceive and perceive the interaction between innovation, the funding of innovation, and the impact that this creates on the way how we are moving forward into our future. And it will require an adaptation of all the stakeholders that make up for this ecosystem. Be it the political scene, be it the community of entrepreneurs, be it us all as consumers, as actors in an economic system. And last but not least, also of the finance community, as investors that actually inject the fuel into the system to make innovation happen. And let me address each of those groups in terms of what that means for the individual perspective briefly. Let me start with the constituency that probably is in the most enviable situation in this whole setup, which is the group of entrepreneurs. I know it is arrogant to say that you're in the most enviable situation, while the entrepreneurs are typically those that take the biggest risk in making change happen. They're putting their whole existence in line at risk for making change happen because of an idea that they believe in and that can be really disruptive and innovative. But yet, you are in the most enviable situation because there has never been a better time to have an idea that is capable of changing the world and trying to get funded for that, because the society as a whole has understood that we depend on you to make that change happen, and we need to invest in you, not only financially, but also mentally, in creating that support that is needed in order to allow us to trigger that change that we need to experience all. And then there's the political scene, where we have been dealing with the interaction of societal impact and societal benefits that need to be created, and economic life historically as two distinct and disconnected universes. We have been collecting tax money on one side in order to do what needed to be done to support vulnerable communities in our society. And we have let business go on with its activity of profit maximization and what have you on the other side, in order to create that economic wealth that allowed to pay the taxes, that allowed to take care of societal needs on the other side. Going forward, we need to think that differently. The public sector will have to become equally a market actor, not only relying on collection of tax money in order to fulfill a public role, but more importantly, to become a stakeholder that actually creates an environment where the creation of societal benefit by economic actors is actually remunerated. We are seeing first signs of this change of behavior of the public sector in countries like the UK or France or other European countries that have adopted approaches to social finance through the concept of social impact bonds, where societal value is actually remunerated directly. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that in the sense that we need to create and think business models where we break out of this kind of locked perspective that only that the remuneration of societal value can only happen between a final beneficiary of a service or a good and the social enterprise that is creating that. We need to get to a concept where if and when societal value is created to anybody, including to this collectivity of society, we need to find ways to remunerate that value that is created by enterprises. And that needs to go beyond the mere integration of externalities into the cost structure of an enterprise that is operating in the market. That is a responsibility that the regulatory environment driven by the public sector needs to take care of. But also it is something that the public sector can influence by setting the right incentives for enterprises to try to bring their products and services to the market. There's obviously the third group of stakeholders that we are looking at, which is us all as consumers, and we see the evolution and the development of the approach to consumer behavior that is changing. We are seeing that consumers today are ready to pay premium in acquiring products or services for ethically sourced goods and services, and we are seeing directing consumer behavior away from business models that do obvious harm to society and supporting companies that actually are behaving responsibly. That is something that will increase and be amplified in the way forward, in a sense that enterprises will not only find a factor of competitiveness in their business behavior, but they actually, as I said before, will be able to build business models on that basis that will monetize this societal value that they are creating. And let me finish with the perspective of the investor community. I think as an investor community, we need to break out of the laziness of thinking that finance or investment is a purpose in itself. That it is enough that we provide money to projects or companies that do some good to society. It is no longer enough to do some good in the business models that we are funding. We actually, as an investor community, we need to actually make clear in our mind what type of impact we want companies to deliver. What type of impact is necessary for us to reach sustainability as a society? And we need to be able to find means to direct our investment to these impact agendas that we need in order to achieve those targets. This goes beyond funding the comfortable impact that we can create, the impact that we almost randomly can collect between the investment opportunities that meet our risk-return considerations. We need to find ways of providing money also to that type of impact intervention that lays outside the spectrum of what the market can actually cater for. And this is one of the central roles that also EIF is playing. By being creative in the financial instruments that we're putting forward, be it in the microfinance area, be it in the area of backing social impact bonds, being in the area of fostering incubator structures for social enterprises and the like. where we need to think how we can bring together the presence of different risk-return appetite between market actors in a way that maximizes the availability of capital for the impact that is the most needed. I consider the finance forum like this one today as being one of the catalysts for this type of thinking, where different stakeholders come together in order to create the symbiosis of finance meeting impact and impact meeting purpose. Let us approach this dialogue that can happen in that forum as something where we are in all humbleness in front of the task that we have to achieve. Also in humbleness for the creativity and the risk that entrepreneurs bring to the table, the risk-taking that they bring to the table to make change happen, to discuss in all humbleness how we can, each of us as a stakeholder in this ecosystem, contribute to that change that we actually need to trigger together. I very much hope that in a very short period of time into the future, this Alternative Finance Forum will lose one word in its title, which is the word alternative. I truly hope that with the creativity that we can bring together, we will achieve the objective that what we are doing here, what we are discussing here, and what will be the product of this reflection over this day will no longer be alternative to something else. Or at least it will become the only alternative we have in order to secure our sustainability. And if it's the only alternative we have, it will become normality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Uli. Thank you for your very thoughtful presentation. And yes, we do accept the challenge that eventually we would not like to be alternative. We would like to move from being alternative to be the mainstream and beyond the one, actually, the way that finance contributes to the society. So thank you very much and we do accept the challenge, and hopefully during this forum we will be able to discuss issues that you raised, how we can use money for purpose. Financing and money is not an end in itself, but it does have a serve a purpose, and definitely a technology can help us to accomplish those goals. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Now, I would like to just make a few comments about the agenda for today. As you may know, we have 2 tracks. From now until 4 o'clock, we will have 2 tracks. One is actually financial innovations, which will be happening in this room for people who are sitting here or who have registered online for this room. And the second one is, which is in another room on the other side of the hall, is social capital. And for those participants online who have registered for that room, you stay there, and you can stay there all the time, or you can move between rooms. And there is if you want to switch from one to another, move one session to another, please go to their website, aff2021.eu, and you will find the link where you can actually switch from different channels. Now, I would like to quickly present the agenda, but in a slightly different way. I would like to ask our moderators to come on stage and briefly make a little 30-second pitch of what you will be doing today. So we can start with Goran. Goran Lazarevski, Data Identity and Access. Olena. Dimitris. Yeah. 30 seconds, quickly.
Hi, everyone.
It's
Good
not
morning.
a speech.
Yes. I need 30 seconds to say my name, so it won't be easy. So just, again, welcome, and very shortly at our Data Identity and Access session, We'll talk about very interesting and provocative, innovative solutions. We'll cover technology, we'll cover money, but most of all, we'll cover purpose, because we often forget that developing technology needs to go along with developing the ecosystem. So we'll have included the regulators, the citizens, the population part. So we'll have an interesting discussion that will probably be controversial at some moments, but that's the idea. We want to keep you awake this early in the morning. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Cyril. So Cyril will be the first session in the social capital track.
Thank you, Piotr. Good morning, everyone. Indeed, Cyril Guifes from the European Investment Fund. So at 10, on the other room, we'll be having a panel on impact investing and trying to connect the three thematics of the Alternative Finance Forum, which is how money, capital can foster purpose through technology. So I hope you'll enjoy the session as much as we look forward to it.
And we would like to understand the impact, how it has changed over time, or what it means these days.
Impact investing will be at the core of the discussion, indeed.
Yeah, thank you, Cyril.
Thank you.
Okay, Elena.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elena Granyuk. I'm Regional Director for the Central Eastern Europe at the SME Banking Club. And exactly in an hour and 15 minutes, we're going to have a panel where we will discussing the access to capital to SME finance. And we'll have great speakers to discuss the digitalization. So we will focus on the digitalization as a way to accelerate and facilitate the access to the finance for the SMEs. We will have two great speakers. We will have also times for your questions, so here in the audience and online. So I would like you to engage, to also participate and interact. So meet us in 1 hour and 15 minutes, yes, here and online. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. And those speakers are very diverse. They're from two different worlds. It's very interesting to see how it goes.
Piotr, I see what you did there. You made us compete.
Yes, it's a pitch.
Yeah, interesting. So thank you all for coming this morning, and I hope you're enjoying it so far, this conference. My name is Dimitris Litsikakis. I'm coming from Greece as well, as you can probably see and hear from my accent. But it's very diverse audience and speakers, so that's amazing. My panel today is around 1 p.m., and it's all about payments and transactions. Amazing speakers as well, so it's really hard for you to choose, I understand that. However, if you're more interested to know about blockchain and how innovation can change payments and transactions and how this deals with, alternative finance, come and join us, and I'm more than happy to, introduce it to the speakers. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Oliver, come on. Who's next? Do we have Sophia? Come and speak for Sophia. Okay, well, come and speak. He's not as pretty, but...
Kalimera σε όλους. Welcome. I speak now on behalf of Sophia. She's now in the studio recording her TV show. She has a very interesting panel to present about actual case studies, actual fintech companies that present their products, Meniga, Wally, and GX Blocks. So stay tuned and watch it, because you will learn a lot about it.
Yes, and we hopefully to learn, it's also a very diverse panel. We're really looking forward to learn more about blockchains, okay? Oliver, I see you in the wings.
Thank you, Piotr, and thank you everyone else for organizing this. My name is Oliver Geider. I'm the Executive Director of Eurocrowd, the European Crowdfunding Network, and I have the honor of moderating a small panel this afternoon at 14:45 on what I believe we haven't talked about, which is one of the most important aspects, collaboration. There is no money, there is no purpose without collaboration. And Uli Grabenwarter already mentioned this, that, and also the speaker before, the EIB is a collaborative entity, out of 27 member states, 400 million citizens that support this. So we want to talk about how can different actors collaborate in providing finance with purpose and changing the world for better. So join me this afternoon, 14:45, with Christine Friedrich from Investment, Chiara from Goteo, and Vasily from a local authority here in Greece, who actually is implementing innovative financial solutions
Yep.
So,
thank you very much. Yorgos?
Thank you, Piotr, and welcome all. The session is Financing Social Entrepreneurship, and I will have the pleasure to discuss with three speakers, representing three organizations that actually walk their talk in making future a better place to live in. So it will be Christina from Maze, that will explain to us why people in Maze believe that impact is the greatest economic opportunity of our times. Piotr from Hefboom, one of the founding members of EBEA, and with a great experience in different and demanding settings in enabling and promoting social and sustainable entrepreneurship, with an interesting venture in funding arts and culture recently during COVID, and of course, Elena Vatangelou, who will explain how we can make a change one scan at a time, how technology can enable financial inclusion and support to charities and vulnerable people. So, right after the break.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. As we heard many times today, entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs is and funding entrepreneurs, especially social entrepreneurs, is very important. So it's a very interesting session. Last but not least, Neok is now in his own self.
Now it's me again. But I like it here. It's fine. Okay. So I'm on the parallel session with Dimitris. We are competing in that. I'm speaking about new microfinance. We've had a lot of discussion about this topic with Piotr when we're designing this event, because in Greece, it's really new, microfinance. It's nothing much to be done. Around Europe, it's quite old. So we have to compete all these balances. So we're speaking about trends and things that are happening around Europe with one of the high-tech MFIs that have around Europe, credits. We're discussing about how traditional MFI went to digital and how fuck up what situation happened, because things won't go well. And we have also a good case about how new products can MFIs create. So we're talking about microequity. So stay tuned, and I'll be watching you to do my panel, okay?
Thank you. Next, I just want to say this, that microfinance is not only new in Greece, but actually we don't necessarily want to compete. It's a perfect opportunity to do something different. And also notice he didn't say this, but he will be talking about his ideas, innovative ideas, how you can actually, if you have an opportunity to start afresh, what can you do? So we will see how we can actually leapfrog if in a situation in which Greece is, even though it's a latecomer. So thank you all of you. So these are our wonderful speakers. Please join us. I want to one more comment. Do we have the slide on Slido? Because you will be asking, if you want to ask questions, obviously you can ask questions from the audience. But for those people, but if you don't, and for those people who are online, we have provided a Slido platform with codes, and each room has its own code. So that's where you have all the codes, and we'll be actually reminding you about the number. No, you don't have to remember the numbers. We will be providing them from time to time. And for as the questions are coming, actually the moderators will have access to it, and hopefully we'll be able to answer all the questions that come to us. So with this, I would like to thank all our panelists and speakers and moderators. For those who want to participate in the financial innovations session, stay here. For those who want to talk, more interested in social capital, please move to the other session, which will start in 6 minutes and 10:15. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Well done, guys. That was good.